Okay, Sunil Gavaskar alongside me. Sunny, Virat has clearly hinted that it's going to be almost the same playing 11. In fact, he said the same playing 11 that played versus South Africa. Would you agree with that, or would you tinker with a few? Because we've seen Bangladesh struggle against quality pace, and spin may not trouble them that much.
No, I would go with the same team. You don't want to tinker with the 11 too much when it comes to the business end of the tournament. Now there are only 2 matches left, this one and the next one. And certainly I think you go in with the same team because it balances your attack quite nicely. You've got 2 spinners, you've got 3 seamers in case you take in Hardik Pandya, who can bowl a bit. And if he can control the urge to bounce too many deliveries, then I think you've got a pretty balanced attack. I wouldn't tinker too much with the team.
Okay. If you were to talk about India, Bangladesh, we saw them play one particular game that was a warm-up game. But you'd expect both teams to put their best in that warm-up game, and we clearly saw that. And India decimated Bangladesh. Do you see any sort of residue left from that game? Will that have any sort of bearing on this match?
Well, certainly, I think as far as the Indians are concerned, they will be looking to inflict the same kind of wounds on the Bangladeshi batsmen in particular. The Bangladeshi bowlers also suffered at the hands of the Indian batsmen. Excuse me. But I think it was the short pitch deliveries that got the Bangladeshi batsmen out in that game. Now, whether the pitch at Birmingham will probably have the same kind of carry and bounce as the one at the Oval remains to be seen. But again, because they're going in with Ashwin, perhaps they might not try too much of the short stuff. But yes, I think even while we look at the dismissal of the Bangladeshi team for some 84 in that warm-up game, we mustn't forget that Tamim Iqbal didn't play. Now he's got 100 against England, he's got a 95 against Australia, and although he got a duck in the last game against New Zealand, he is a quality player, and he's an opener. So he gives the team just the impetus, just the start that they need at the beginning. And if he gets going, clearly he's going to make a difference. Then I think you've got to also look at the way Shakib and Mahmudullah batted in a crisis situation, 4 wickets down for not too many. Then they stitched together a partnership of 224. And I mean, that was fantastic cricket, fantastic batting, just showed their temperament, showed their desire to win. And I think that is something which is different in Bangladesh, is the determination to hang in there, excuse me, not give up, and then also produce an array of shots which were breathtaking. So Virat is absolutely right. India must not take Bangladesh lightly.
I know India-Bangladesh isn't as big a rivalry as, let's say, India-Pakistan. In the recent past, we've seen a few close games. We've seen a bit of an edge also in the encounter, a few things said here and there. Do you expect more of that? Of course, a lot is written in the media as well when India plays Bangladesh and vice versa.
Well, I think there's always needle in a game between neighbours. There's always that. I mean, you play a game with your neighbours, whether it's cricket, football. You're always wanting to beat your neighbours. Just that you want to be better than your neighbour. That's the old thing. It's got nothing to do with countries either. It's an Australia-New Zealand rivalry. Perhaps is even bigger than Australia and England. But so there will be that element for sure. And yes, in a situation like that, there will be just a little bit of maybe a tutu meme. In that situation, but at the end of the day, those who get carried away by the tutu meme forget the basic business, which is to either bat well or bowl well and catch well.
Okay. Now we're just looking at the bookmakers' odds, and usually they're very close to how the result pans out, and it's 78% in India's favour. Would you say India as overwhelming favourites as the odds are making them look?
Well, the last time you told me about 78%. And 22% was India v Sri Lanka, if I recall correctly.
That's right.
And you know what happened in that game. So let's not talk about those kind of odds. It just tells you that maybe the bookmakers, think that they know cricket, but they probably don't.
Okay. I mean, just looking at the game much closely now. In terms of Bangladesh, do you think that, the coach said the other day that over the years, what their endeavor has been to become closer and close the gap between the top teams, whoever they've played, and they've managed to do that. Are you seeing that gap being closed versus India too over the years?
Oh yes, I think look at the way Bangladesh against India in one-day matches earlier on was pretty much a cakewalk for India. Bangladesh have beaten India in a series at home. It doesn't matter where the series is, you've beaten them at home, and Bangladesh have improved drastically because of the Bangladesh Premier League. I believe that the Bangladesh Premier League gave the opportunity for the Bangladesh local players, not necessarily the international players, but the other players, the fringe players, to mingle with, international stars and to learn from them about, what training is about, what, discipline is about, what attitude is about. And look at, and the awe factor has gone. The awe factor that a lot of the Bangladeshi players had, because they were new to international cricket, about other international players, that has gone. Now they believe they are on level terms with the opposition. And everybody who points a finger at Bangladesh, and says, why have you given them test status, etc., would do well to look at India's record. India's record, when they were given test status, and they didn't win anything for about 30 odd years. So I don't think, people should be, quibbling about Bangladesh getting international status, test status, and just be patient with them, because right now, I do believe that the best is still to come from Bangladesh. They're getting there, but the best is still to come.
Okay, who do you think will have more pressure? Because this was the debate in the media boxes yesterday. Many believe that India, because they're expected to win, will be under more pressure. Well, some felt that Bangladesh will be, because expectations are very high back home. Their media expects them to do a lot better than they have been. Their fans expect them to do that much better.
I think Bangladesh will be under more pressure, particularly after their magnificent win over New Zealand. Because of the way they recovered, they'll be expected to do something similar against India and get to the finals and maybe surprise Pakistan there as well. So I think the pressure definitely will be on Bangladesh, not so much on India. India is always under pressure. India is always under pressure because India knows that, there are so many who are just waiting for them to fail, because then all the stories will come up. We are the greatest, manufacturing nation in the world. We manufacture stories. And so the moment an Indian team does badly or an individual in the team does badly, the stories start manufacturing. So India is also under pressure, but I would imagine because of the way Bangladesh did against New Zealand the other day, I think they're probably under a little more pressure.
Okay, but I don't think the Indian team is giving a lot of opportunities to the media to manufacture stories, because they're doing so well, are expected now to even win the title. But, plenty of excitement. We're coming to you live from Birmingham, so plenty of excitement, I can tell you, looking ahead to that India versus Bangladesh game amongst Indian fans. But the Indian fans have another very interesting thing to look forward to, another big landmark, and that is of Yuvraj Singh playing his 300th ODI. Now, remember, he's just the 5th Indian to do that, and over the years, he's contributed immensely to the Indian team. So, would you say that in one-day cricket, he is probably one of the greatest match winners that India has produced?
Absolutely, without a doubt. I mean, look at the innings that he's played for India. Look at the times he's got run-outs at crucial, situations when partnerships have been building. He's thrown in from that backward point area, got run-outs. He's taken fabulous catches. And don't forget, he was called a pie chucker, but he always picked wickets. Always picked wickets when India needed them. So, yes, I think he's amongst the greatest Indian cricketers as far as one-day cricket is concerned. Just a little pity that he didn't quite fulfill his potential at the test level. But I don't think he was given the confidence to feel that he belonged in that test team. Every time, he sort of, had a couple of bad test matches, people were questioning his place in the team. So if he had been given a bit of a longer run in test cricket, he would have done well in test cricket as well.
Okay. We've put together the best moments of UV's career, one-day career rather. If I was to ask you to pick a few moments, there are plenty. The NatWest, I remember his opening game, his debut game, of course, then that 2011 innings against Australia. Your favourite?
I saw him get 100 against Australia at Sydney. I think he got 138, and it was, I think, one of the classiest innings that I have seen. It was full of shots. He just toyed with the Australian bowling. It was a pitch where there was a bit of life in it. Brett Lee was teaming in and bowling quick, and he just played him as if he was a spinner. It was incredible stuff. And being a left-hander, there was that added elegance. I think he got 138, if I recall rightly. I mean, I was just, gobsmacked by the ease with which he batted. There was not a false stroke in that entire innings, and that seldom happens. You might score hundreds, but even in that 100, there have been the odd deliveries, which has come and hit you on the pads, or you played and missed. I think in that innings, there was nothing of the sort. It was everything bang in the middle of the bat from the first one, and that's the one that sticks in my memory.